Back on Get Up, where we're handing out some winners and losers from Week 16. Shefty, we begin with you. Biggest winner.
Well, we're always looking for good Christmas gifts. How about cheese graters? A cheese grater. DJ Moore had one on his head after beating the Packers on Saturday night. They gave him a game ball for his game-winning overtime touchdown catch. And I guess when you beat the Packers with a catch like that in overtime, you can wear whatever you want on your head. But that's a great Christmas gift. A cheese grating helmet to put on your head in time for Thursday.
Bears fans living the dream right now. Coach, biggest loser of the weekend.
Tampa Bay Buccaneers, man. After Todd Bowles called out his entire football team, I expected better efforts than this. And by the way, Baker, quit being Baker. I mean, golly. Some of these throws, some of these interceptions, like, God, it's just mind-boggling. And even before the game, he talked about how healthy this team was. They're going to get it going. They got all their weapons, and then he pulls this. It's just like, golly, sometimes Baker, he's got to get away from himself.
Who would have thought Carolina in the driver's seat with 2 to play? Dano, biggest winner.
Baker, don't stop being Baker.
Just kidding. You know how I always get on Baker.
Mike Tomlin and the Steelers, man. To go on the road in Detroit, really this 3-week run, but on the road in Detroit and out physical Detroit, kind of bully Detroit, and then all those people that you've brought into the organization this year with Gainwell and Thielen and DK Metcalf, and obviously Aaron Rodgers having tremendous impact and basically locking up the division. Very impressive performance.
Death, taxes, Tomlin in December. Neek, biggest loser.
Yeah, it's got to be the same game. I'm going with the Lions. Like, they have a good team, a team that is championship caliber, has been this whole run, and they seem like they're going to be out of the playoffs again. But it's hard for me to focus with Mike Tomlin there. Those eyes just, he's the only one who got his face up there. He's just, huh? What? Who, me?
That's the picture we'll be using till the end of time.
I love that.
That Lions loss yesterday really altered the entire playoff picture in the NFC. Take a look at this. With the loss, the Bears and the Niners end up clinching playoff spots, which leaves only one more wild card spot left between the Packers and the Lions, 2 teams everyone thought were going to be in before the season started. Seattle still holds the top spot, but the Rams and Bears are just 1 game behind them. All right, so let's predict the NFC Championship right now. Going around, here are the picks for everyone on the lower level. Everyone on the Rams, and then it just determines from there whether or not we're going Seahawks or Eagles, it looks like.
Well, and we haven't talked about the Rams at all. We talked about the officiating, how it left its mark on that game yesterday. You could say the same thing about Thursday night's game. And if the Rams had won at that point in time, they'd be sitting there as the likely #1 seed that they still may wind up being in the end. But if it weren't for some of that officiating on Thursday night, the #1 seed might be clinched again.
And a bad run team, all of a sudden being able to run the ball. Like, I don't think that the Seahawks beat them without that explosive Gainwell run, which is not something that they, not Gainwell, I'm sorry, Kenneth Walker run. Yeah, which is not something they normally do. I feel like the Rams are better than the Seahawks. I think the Eagles have what they have on defense. I think they're going to win with, like, more conservative offensive play and great defense. It's a team that's been there before. It's a team that I trust. When you're in a situation like this, it's very different for the Seahawks. Obviously, you trust their defense, but that's kind of where it stops. It's JSN and the defense, and you feel differently about the Eagles. But the Rams feel like they've separated themselves, as evidenced by that graphic that we all believe in, and we might have jinxed them.
Yeah, I think the Eagles right now, getting healthy, getting their Lane Johnson back, the big right tackle, and getting Jalen Carter back on the inside, that defense is going to be there. We know how they play in the playoffs. We saw it all last year. And then run, Eagles, run. When you have that formula, you win also. So I like the Eagles in that situation. I do think the Rams, though, are the best team, the most complete team in the league.
Yeah, following up, does everyone have the Rams going to the Super Bowl and winning this matchup?
I think the Rams are a tier of their own. I think the Rams, I would be surprised if the Rams do not go to the Super Bowl. I honestly would also say I think Stafford is more than likely going to win MVP. And if he wins MVP, goes to the Super Bowl and wins it again, he puts himself in a class for being in the conversation for one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. I think they would match up well versus anybody from the AFC.
Shefty, final thoughts. Rams as well?
Well, the Rams' big Achilles weakness has been their special teams. And over the weekend, they fired their special teams coach, Chase Blackburn, and they replaced him with Ben Kotwika.
Yeah,
right?
One of my guys.
Made him the new special teams coordinator. Their special teams have played a role in 3 of their 4 losses this year. So if they get that area straightened out, they're even more dangerous than they already are.
All right, so some consensus here with the Rams, and then it's either the Eagles or the Seahawks. Let's take a look at the AFC, where it's a bit more wide open, as everyone would agree. Dano, lead us off here with your thoughts on who gets through, and it could be just about anything. As you're taking a look at this playoff picture, the 1 seed's still up for grabs. Wild card spots are still up for grabs.
So
and I mean,
many
look at
teams.
2 11-win teams currently slated for the wild card.
Matchups are going to be huge in the AFC. I don't think they matter as much in the NFC. I'm going Buffalo and Houston. Wide open, totally agree. Naturally, I would be leaning towards who I think is the best quarterback in the conference. That's Josh Allen, and obviously in the playoffs, big game, Josh. And then Houston, I just believe Houston's a complete team, elite defense. Offense has been one of the most improved units in all of football. That was who I would go with right now, but matchups will be everything.
Yeah,
big Jags guy.
Yeah, I'm going. I mean, the way I talked about the Jags this morning in the meeting and on the show, it would be ridiculous for me not to continue to ride the Jags. I think that the 1 seed and the bye matters a lot. I think both of these teams are in contention for that. So I think either or both of those teams make it, but I'm leaning in that direction because I, like Rex Ryan, respect and love defense. These other teams, the Texans play good defense, but I think that's what holds the Bills back is the lack of run defense.
A month ago, one of the teams that could have been on this list but isn't now plays tonight, Monday Night Football. Your matchup loaded with playoff implications. Christian McCaffrey and the Niners squaring off against Phillip Rivers and the Colts. On ABC, ESPN, ESPN Deportes, Disney Plus, and the ESPN app. ESPN2 will have a data-driven look at the game featuring Dan Orlovsky.
Yay!
Much better, boys, much better.
Yeah.
Coverage kicks off with Monday Night Countdown at 6 p.m. Eastern. Pick bar for tonight's game. We don't have a lot of faith. The home dog with the Colts, no Rivers magic?
No, I think they'll be able to run the football, though. It's going to make it a competitive game, in my opinion.
Shanahan's done an excellent job this year and isn't in anyone's conversation for Coach of the Year.
He is mine. I think there's 4 guys that are very much so in that conversation. Brock Purdy's ability to continue to make plus plays. Am I right with Buckner being back?
Yeah, DeForest
See,
Buckner.
that's a big deal for
No
Indy.
Sauce Gardner, but DeForest Buckner's back for the Colts defense.
I think that'll help a little bit in that run game because I agree, like run it on him, but Buck being back, I think is.
Let's talk about Coach of the Year. Let's talk about Assistant Coach of the Year. How about Robert Saleh?
Yeah.
The
Tremendous
job he's done with that defense.
Yeah.
Look, they're not making big plays, splash plays like they were accustomed to, but he's overcome his 2 best players being out for the year, Fred Warner and Bosa. So to me,
and his first-round pick.
Yeah.
Walker.
So tip your hat to him.
That is later tonight.
Press DB, then you go underneath.
All right, so those are the problems on the Lions side of the equation. More on that in a moment. Dio, on the Pittsburgh side of the equation, is it possible to overstate the magnitude of this win for the Steelers?
No, it's the most impressive win of the season for me. I had no belief
For the
that they were
Steelers or for anybody?
for anybody.
Really?
I didn't think there was any chance that they were going to go into Detroit and not only win, but win in the fashion that they did. Coach talked about it. It was a dominant performance at the line of scrimmage. And that's kind of been a huge question mark for this football team, specifically on the defensive side. Detroit could not run the football. They tried. They could not. TFL after TFL after TFL. And then Pittsburgh and their ability to run the football. And then the element of Aaron Rodgers in the last 3 weeks has thrown the ball as good as he has in 3 years, since 2022. And now you're watching all these different pieces that they've added. Adam Thielen comes in. Every single time the ball goes his way, he does the right thing with it. DK Metcalf's impact, winning one-on-one down the sideline. I feel like every week, DK Metcalf makes 3 plays down the sideline. You're like, oh, there's another DK Metcalf catch. Washington, Jonnu Smith. Aaron's playing at such a good level right now. Throwing the ball, but also all the little I've played for 20 years experience things, that every time he throws the ball to a role player, they take advantage of that opportunity. Kenneth Gainwell's been a godsend for this football team. Warren's creating big plays. So that going on the road and winning in that fashion, I think for me is like tip of the hat. Did not see it. That's the most impressive win of the year.
One without T.J. Watt. And Aaron Rodgers has talked about what an weapon Kenneth Gainwell is and how he wants to make him money in free agency. And my memory serves me correctly. Here's the play that Kenneth Gainwell made, an incredible play down on the ground. No one touches him. Gets up, has the presence of mind to go score a touchdown, another 45-yard touchdown for the Pittsburgh Steelers. You're talking about Aaron Rodgers the last 3 weeks throwing the ball as well as he has.
In 3 years.
3 years? Okay. Well, 3 weeks ago, I remember the fans in Pittsburgh chanting, "Fire Mike Tomlin." That was 3 weeks ago. Since then, they haven't lost. Since then, they've taken over first place. Now they're 1 win away. 1 win away from clinching the AFC North. There aren't many division-winning teams that usually fire their head coaches. There aren't usually many division-winning teams that fire head coaches as long and successful as Mike Tomlin, who won his 200th game yesterday. And take a look at the schedule here. All it takes is one Steeler win or one Ravens loss, and the Pittsburgh Steelers will